A street performer from New Orleans has just turned America's Got Talent into one of the most talked about moments of the season. In recent weeks, the rise of singer Jourdan Blue has become a focal point across entertainment news, social media, and fan discussions, creating a wave of attention that few contestants in AGT history have managed to achieve. What makes his story stand out isn't just the applause he received on stage, but the circumstances that brought him there. A journey that blends resilience, raw talent, and the voices of supporters from his home city who watched him perform long before national headlines started calling his name. The moment he stepped onto the AGT stage, viewers sensed that his background carried more weight than the typical talent show narrative. Behind his vocals is a history shaped by street corners, unpredictable crowds, and the unique soundscape of New Orleans, a place where music is woven into everyday life. What's driving the sudden surge of interest is the contrast between where Jourdan began and where he now stands. For years, passers-by on Bourbon Street heard him before they saw him, often stopping mid-stride as his voice carried above the noise of nightlife. His setup was simple: a battery-powered speaker, a microphone, and a section of pavement he turned into a stage. Reporters covering local art scenes described him as a performer who brought an emotional depth to popular songs, often prompting extended crowds to gather. Those who followed him closely say AGT wasn't just a career milestone. It was a turning point that transformed a familiar local figure into a national contender. And as attention continues to rise, viewers want to know what shaped his journey and what challenges he faced before the spotlight reached him. That part of the story begins far away from cameras, in a chapter marked by moment-to-moment survival rather than applause. Witnesses say they knew he would become a star long before television cameras ever discovered him. Before national audiences learned his name, Jourdan Blue was a familiar sound drifting through the busy streets of New Orleans. His earliest performances took place not in formal venues, but on sidewalks, where he turned bustling corners into makeshift stages. Locals recall seeing him night after night with nothing more than a portable speaker powered by a car battery, creating a makeshift setup that demanded both creativity and stamina. Street musicians in the French Quarter face an ever-shifting environment: no guaranteed crowd, no formal sound system, and constant competition from the noise of nightlife. Yet observers say Jourdan's voice consistently cut through the chatter, gaining attention from visitors who often stopped mid-walk to record short clips or listen a little longer than they planned. According to longtime residents, his performances stood out because of the emotional intensity he brought to each song. Rather than simply covering popular tracks, he delivered them with a depth that made his audience forget the setting. On many nights, people lingered long after they intended to move on. Some returned with friends. Others shared videos online, unaware they were documenting the early stages of a performer who would later captivate millions. The environment shaped his skills in ways that a traditional stage might not. Performing outdoors forced him to develop a commanding presence and maintain vocal control despite unpredictable noise, weather, and lighting. He learned how to read crowds quickly, adjusting tone, packing, and song choice on the fly. These traits later played an essential role in his AGT debut. As one local music reporter noted, the city has a long history of transforming unknown street performers into major talents, and many now believe Jourdan Blue may be the next in that lineage. Still, his path from sidewalk singer to national headline was not straightforward, and the challenges he faced behind the scenes were far heavier than most audiences realized. What viewers saw as overnight success was actually the final chapter of years defined by struggle. Long before the bright lights of television studios, Jourdan Blue's life was shaped by instability that began in his teens. According to interviews he later gave to entertainment outlets, he faced periods where he had no stable place to stay, relying on friends, public spaces, or whatever shelter he could find. His circumstances created ongoing uncertainty, yet his connection to music remained constant. Even in the toughest moments, he carried notebooks filled with lyrics or melodies, using creative expression as a way to navigate the chaos around him. One of the most significant turning points came after an incident where he reportedly experienced a dangerous reaction tied to substance use, an episode he described indirectly as a moment that forced him to reconsider the direction of his life. Rather than discussing it in graphic terms, he explained that the experience served as a wake-up call, prompting him to step back and reassess the choices leading him there. Those close to him say it was during this period that he began focusing more seriously on turning music from a coping mechanism into a long-term path. Family members, particularly his grandfather, played a pivotal role during this transformation. They encouraged him to step away from destructive patterns and rebuild a stable routine. He began performing more consistently, refining his voice and gaining confidence. In the months that followed, community members noted a visible shift in him, more discipline, more commitment, and a renewed sense of purpose. These early steps ultimately set the stage for his AGT audition. By the time producers reached out, Jourdan had already begun turning his life around, but he knew national exposure meant revisiting parts of his past that were difficult to discuss publicly. Still, he approached the opportunity with honesty, choosing to frame his story not as tragedy, but as evidence that progress is possible even after moments that feel impossible to overcome. This openness would soon become one of the defining elements of his television debut, and one reason millions connected with him instantly. One performance, one song, and a single judge's decision shifted Jourdan's entire trajectory. When Jourdan Blue stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage for his season 20 audition, he carried with him not only years of experience from the streets of New Orleans, but the emotional weight of his past. Reporters on-site described his demeanor as calm but focused, offering no indication of the impact he was about to make. The moment he began singing "Break Heaven" by The Script, the atmosphere in the room reportedly shifted. Audience members who had attended multiple auditions said his tone and phrasing created an unusually still environment, a sign that something exceptional was unfolding. In post-show interviews, judges mentioned being struck by the contrast between his humble introduction and the polished, emotionally charged performance that followed. His voice, shaped by countless outdoor shows, carried a raw but steady quality that distinguished him from typical contestants. As he reached the song's high points, onlookers noted the judges exchanging glances, recognizing that they were witnessing a standout moment. The most dramatic reaction came from Howie Mandel, who ultimately awarded Jourdan the Golden Buzzer. That single choice sent the room into applause and secured his immediate advancement to the live rounds. Journalists covering AGT reported a surge in online searches for his name within minutes of the episode airing. Clips of the audition quickly circulated across social platforms, drawing reactions from both longtime AGT fans and people encountering him for the first time. Yet perhaps the most impactful part of the segment came after the performance, when Jourdan shared the story of witnessing a traumatic incident on Bourbon Street, a moment that pushed him to reconsider how he wanted to live and what he wanted to pursue. Rather than focusing on the violent nature of the event, he framed it as a reminder of life's fragility and the importance of choosing a meaningful path. That sincerity resonated deeply with audiences, amplifying the emotional weight of his audition and turning the performance into one of the season's defining moments. But as he advanced, he also faced a new set of pressures, the kind that can test even the strongest performers. Every week, his name appeared more frequently in fan polls, many predicting he could win it all. As Jourdan entered the live rounds, entertainment reporters began noting a pattern. Each time he performed, online engagement spiked. His semi-final performance of Stargazing became a standout moment, earning a full standing ovation from the judging panel. Viewers commenting on social platforms described the performance as controlled yet emotionally charged, highlighting his ability to maintain clarity and dynamics throughout the song's most challenging sections. Critics remarked that his delivery felt both intimate and powerful, a difficult balance for contestants performing under intense pressure. The live auditorium setting offered a different environment from the streets where he built his foundation. Instead of adjusting to unpredictable public noise, he now had to manage the scrutiny of a national audience, the expectations of judges, and the awareness that each note carried implications for his future in the competition. Despite the high stakes, multiple reviews praised his consistency. During this phase, discussions in online forums revealed a shift in perception. Fans who initially viewed him as a strong contender began predicting he might secure a place in the finale. Commentators on AGT-focused channels highlighted his narrative and vocal control as qualities that differentiated him from other performers. Some called him the best vocalist of the season, a sentiment echoed by music reviewers who followed the show closely. However, what made this period particularly compelling was how quickly momentum accumulated around him. With each episode, Jourdan's fanbase expanded. His previous experience performing under difficult circumstances became an unexpected asset, allowing him to stay composed in situations that might overwhelm less seasoned contestants. Still, his path wasn't without unexpected obstacles. A challenge during one of the most important episodes would soon test his resolve and raise questions about whether he could maintain his pace amid mounting pressure. On the night that mattered most, he faced a setback no one saw coming. During one of the crucial live episodes, Jourdan encountered an unexpected health issue that threatened his ability to perform. Reports from backstage indicated he was dealing with a sudden, severe case of food-related illness. The situation unfolded only hours before he was scheduled to appear, leaving him with a difficult decision: step back and conserve his strength or go on stage despite the risk of underperforming. According to behind-the-scenes accounts, producers gave him the option to sit out the performance entirely. What surprised many was his choice to go ahead with the show. Observers noted that despite looking visibly fatigued, he remained composed as he prepared for his segment. Industry analysts later commented that his decision demonstrated an unusual level of commitment, especially at a stage of the competition where one misstep could alter the outcome. His determination resonated with fans once the news became public, reinforcing perceptions of his resilience. During the performance, viewers noticed subtle signs of strain, slightly heavier breaths, a more cautious delivery, but he maintained enough vocal control to complete the song successfully. Judges acknowledged the challenge he faced and commended him for pushing through under difficult circumstances. The audience response was equally supportive, with many expressing admiration for his professionalism. The incident quickly became a talking point across entertainment outlets. Rather than framing it as a dramatic health scare, coverage emphasized the broader narrative: a performer refusing to give up during a pivotal moment in his career. Analysts suggested that overcoming such a setback added depth to his story, presenting him as an individual willing to endure discomfort in pursuit of his goals. This episode contributed significantly to public sympathy and heightened interest as he moved toward the final stages of the competition. As the season closed, one question dominated entertainment headlines: where does Jourdan Blue go from here? Following his strong run on America's Got Talent, Jourdan concluded the season as one of its most discussed contestants. While he did not secure the top position, he achieved a high-ranking finish that cemented his status as a breakout figure of Season 20. Entertainment reporters noted that his journey from street performer to national finalist demonstrated substantial growth both vocally and personally. What captivated many was not just his music, but the arc of resilience underlying his progress. In the weeks after the finale, speculation began circulating about possible next steps. Industry insiders pointed to the likelihood of a debut project, noting that his exposure on the show created a significant foundation for a recording career. His streaming numbers and social media following rose sharply, signaling strong audience interest. Observers noted that his unique vocal tone, shaped by years of unconventional performance settings, gave him a sound that could translate effectively into studio recordings. Beyond music, several outlets highlighted aspects of his personal journey that continue to resonate publicly. His evolution from instability to national recognition positions him as a compelling figure for human interest stories, interviews, and future coverage. Fans who followed his path from the beginning remain eager to see how his career unfolds, and entertainment journalists expect continued updates as he navigates new opportunities. While concrete details about upcoming releases remain unconfirmed, analysts suggest that momentum is firmly on his side. His AGT appearances introduced him to millions, but his next moves will determine how he transitions from television personality to long-term artist. If the trajectory continues as it has, Jourdan Blue may soon shift from a standout contestant to an established name in the music industry, a development many viewers are now anticipating.